Hello and welcome to the weekly update, Achieve Virtual Education Academy teachers. Thanks for joining us again. If you bear with me, I have a little bit, I'm fighting a cold this week. Compliments of my kids. Kids great. But anyways, uh, on to this week's update. Student of the month, thank you for those of you who have sent me names. What I like to do is keep a pool of those in case there's a month where I don't get anybody. I can look back at maybe who was sent, make sure they're still enrolled, and if they are, if they're still progressing and doing well, then utilize those in a pinch. But certainly don't stop sending me names if over time you get somebody who's all of a sudden kicked it into gear, they're doing really well, and it looks like they're doing well in all their classes, go ahead and get those to me. Don't be offended if I don't choose your student. For instance, this time we did have one student who was mentioned. They weren't a full-time student, so as part-timers don't receive our newsletter, I'm not going to use that person. It's good to know there's students out there that are doing what they're supposed to be doing, but what I do is I look at the names, kind of look at the general status, and then kind of select based on some Miss Goodnight's input and whatever your announcement for them is. So keep sending them to me. Certainly, we want to share good news, good students, and let our families know through our newsletter that there are real students out there doing the same thing their students are doing and doing well. So thank you, and keep it up. Fall break, as a reminder, for most of us, within the next 2 weeks, we will start a fall break period. Some of us get a full 2 weeks off, some of us will get a week off, and others will still just get the 2 or 3 days off. Please be conscientious of that. Begin advertising your modified availability. I think 2 weeks out is a good time to start communicating that to your students. I say that because schools like Madison Grant only get the 2 days off, so they're going to expect a teacher to be there, and so don't be gone for a full 2 weeks. Have some availability, even if it's modified and limited. Don't just completely disappear and go ghost for 2 weeks. That's not how we do things around here. So just be aware of that and be sure to begin communicating when you think you'll have some availability to check in on student progress and respond accordingly. Professional development. Our professional development, as a reminder, for October and September, finishing up this month, was to complete your It's Learning training course. Generally, our professional developments are scheduled for 2 hours. Obviously, the training course is going to take a little longer than that, so we figured 1, 2 months, but also we had to push back what we're doing because the transition to It's Learning is taking a little longer than initially thought. And so as a result, we'll get you through fall break and get you back in here in November, hopefully with some experience in It's Learning, and then we can begin progressing accordingly, showing things like how you're going to teach in it, how it's going to operate, how to update and evolve assignments, and evolve your content and curriculum over time. So please don't forget, September's almost finished. It ends in the middle of next week, and then we're into October. So please be sure to get that completed. That leaves you a month, but that month is broken up by fall break, so we're running out of time. Remind your students, I like to pass this along, we're 9 weeks in. We still got 11 weeks to go, but we're 9 weeks in, so it's time to begin thinking about final exams, reminding students of the deadlines, and then reminding them of how to get a credit. We have, looking at some of the students of the month, some are almost finished with some classes, so it's never too early to start looking at how they're going to take their final exam, planning, and if they're not going to do it at Ben Davis, getting that scheduled, or looking into how they're going to schedule it. Deadlines, December 18th is the end of this semester, so make sure they're aware of that, and to get a credit in their classes, they must pass the class and their final exam. So they must do both. So be sure to remind them of that. I don't think you can say this enough in your weekly updates to your kids or when you're talking to them and those kinds of things. In case you thought we were done taking kids, but you keep getting them, we did close full-time enrollment last week. We were around 210, 208 kids, something like that. However, part-time students or the Wayne Township students, for those part-time students who are paying, we're going to continue to take those. So just FYI. Give them the 18 weeks to complete your class and grant extensions. If they're progressing and don't quite get done in 18 weeks, feel free to grant the extension when appropriate. Remember, for full-time students, December 18th is that deadline if you're granting an extension. make sure they have completed at least 80% of your class and are passing. If neither one of those is true, then do not grant the extension. I'll send more information about that as we get closer to December 18th, but with 11 weeks to go, we're not quite there yet. Department of Education visit. We had our outreach coordinator, Star Hairston, join us on Thursday this week. And she's very kind, she's informative, overall helpful, she's being very supportive. They just don't always know what to do to help us in our situation, not only with kind of where our kids are and who we get, but also how our staff is made up. So it was a good kickstart to the year. She'll be back November 6th to meet with some of our teachers. She'll meet primarily with the Ben Davis Extended Day staff, who are kind of our core group of Achieve teachers, but I may try to pick some of your brains for opportunities to meet with her and kind of show what you do online with your kids, and she might pick your brain on how it's going and how I am doing as a leader. So just heads up, if I reach out to you, that's what it's about. Lastly, a lot of College Go events going on. That's great. It's cool to see in the hallways. Keep encouraging your students to keep working, keep at it, and inform them as you would in a traditional classes, and getting them prepared for college or a career once they graduate. We do have the most seniors we've ever had enrolled. I think it's over 100 seniors currently this semester, which is fantastic, but that just means they're that much closer to being ready for a college or career. So 14 of those I think are potential December graduates. So work hard, get them through, have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you again next week.